Every single time I try to book a flight to see my family, I am staring at all these little colored squares on the screen. It is exhausting. The map always shows that 90% of the plane is completely sold out. So, I panic. I end up paying $50 extra just for a standard window seat in the back because I am terrified I will be stuck in a middle seat by the bathrooms.
That panic you are feeling? It is entirely manufactured. Airlines spend millions of dollars studying behavioral psychology to make you feel exactly that way. Gate agents and revenue managers call it artificial scarcity. The map you see on your screen when you buy your ticket is almost never a true reflection of how many people are actually on that airplane. They are hiding the truth.
Wait, what do you mean? If a seat has a gray X on it, doesn't that mean someone else already bought it?
No, not at all. Let me explain exactly how they manipulate you. I want you to imagine you are walking into a massive, high-end casino in Las Vegas. When you first step onto the floor, you might notice that a large section of the penny slot machines is completely roped off with velvet cords. They are out of order, or reserved, or just closed. So you look around, and you see that the only machines available are the $5 minimum bet machines. Because the cheap ones are blocked off, a crowd gathers around those expensive machines. You start to feel anxious. You think, if I do not grab this $5 machine right now, I will not get to play at all. The casino is creating an illusion. The cheap machines are perfectly fine. The management simply locked them away to force the crowd toward the areas that generate higher revenue. They know human nature dictates that we fear missing out more than we fear paying a little extra. Airline computer systems do the exact same thing with airplane seats. They deliberately block entire rows of perfectly good, empty standard seats and label them as unavailable. They do this to create an illusion of a completely packed flight, forcing you to look at the few remaining premium or preferred seats that cost extra money.
Are you serious? So those seats are just sitting there empty, and the airline is basically lying to my face so I will buy the premium ones?
Exactly. The airlines will tell you they are holding those seats for operational reasons or family seating requirements. But the reality is a massive revenue-generating mechanism. Gate agents have confessed that up to 30% of an aircraft's standard seats might be artificially blocked until the final hours before departure. They squeeze the occasional travelers who buy tickets 3 months in advance, making them pay a seat assignment fee. Then, on the day of the flight, the computers release all those gray, unavailable seats for free to the very last people checking in. It is a backward system where the most anxious and proactive travelers subsidize the flight.
Then what are we supposed to do? Just refuse to pay and hope for the best? Because getting stuck in a middle seat between two huge guys for 6 hours is my worst nightmare.
You must change your timeline. Do not play their game when you purchase the ticket. There is a hidden phase of the booking cycle that gate agents call the schedule sweep. About 3 to 4 weeks before a departure, airlines constantly adjust their flight schedules. They might change a departure time by 10 minutes, or, more importantly, they might swap the physical airplane for a slightly different model. We call this an equipment swap. When an equipment swap happens, the computer system completely scrambles the seat map. If you paid $50 for a specific window seat 2 months ago, an equipment swap will often quietly bump you, throw you into a random middle seat, and the airline's automated system will conveniently forget to notify you until you check in.
Wow. So if I pay early, I might lose the seat anyway because they swapped the plane?
Yes, that is the dirty little secret of advance seat fees. To protect yourself, you should set a calendar alert for completely free seat monitoring. Book your basic ticket, but decline the paid seat. Then, exactly 1 week before your flight, pull up the seat map on the airline application. Check it again 3 days before. You will physically watch those artificially blocked blocks of seats suddenly turn available. But the real insider trick is waiting until the gate.
Waiting until the gate? I have always been told that once you get to the airport, it is way too late to change anything without paying a massive penalty.
That is another myth designed to keep lines short and maximize digital profits. The airline software freezes about 60 minutes before the flight, but the human gate agent takes total control of the plane's inventory at exactly 50 minutes prior to departure. At that moment, the computer stops trying to upsell. All unassigned seats, including those premium extra legroom seats that went unsold, simply become empty spots that a human needs to fill to balance the weight of the aircraft. If you approach the desk politely exactly 45 minutes before departure, you can simply ask, "Are there any open window seats left?" Gate agents have full authority to move you into a normally expensive seat for absolutely $0, just with a few keystrokes.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Just ask the human when the computer turns off. But what about the actual seats themselves? Once I am on board, I always feel so cramped. Are there any tricks to the physical seat space?
Yes, and airlines despise it when passengers realize how floor geometry works. The airplane is basically a giant metal tube, but the walls curve inward at the top and the bottom. Because of that curve, the tracks that hold the seats to the floor cannot run in perfectly straight lines along the absolute edge. Look at the legs of the seat in front of you. You will notice metal rails bolted into the floor. In many economy cabins, the entertainment box, a large metal rectangle, is mounted underneath the seat. But airlines do not distribute these boxes evenly. Because of how the floor wiring is laid out, the metal box is almost always bolted underneath the aisle seat and the middle seat.
Oh, I hate those boxes. I always end up kicking them, and I can never stretch my legs out properly.
Exactly. That is the in-flight entertainment server box, or sometimes life vest storage on certain configurations. The whistleblower truth from airplane mechanics is this: the window seat is the only seat in a standard row that almost never has a metal box under it. The curvature of the fuselage prevents them from mounting the box near the wall. So, while the aisle seat gives you room to stretch your shoulder into the walkway, the window seat actually offers about 30% more underseat foot space. If your primary discomfort is leg cramping, the standard window seat is physically superior to the aisle seat due entirely to invisible floor wiring.
I never knew that. I always assumed the aisle had the most leg room. What about reclining? It feels like the seats barely move anymore.
Airlines have installed new slimline seats that actually operate on an articulated pan. Instead of the backrest falling backward and crushing the person behind you, the bottom cushion actually slides forward. But friction prevents this from happening fully. When you press the recline button, do not push backward with your shoulders. Instead, push your hips forward while gripping the armrests. This engages the sliding pan track underneath you, lowering your center of gravity and giving you a deeper recline angle without invading the space behind you. It is pure mechanical leverage.
That is brilliant. Lower the hips, engage the track. Honestly, knowing all this makes the whole process feel so much less overwhelming. I feel like I am finally looking behind the curtain.
That is the entire goal. The airlines built a system designed to confuse and panic you into opening your wallet. But once you understand the timeline of the seat map, the handover to the gate agent, and the physical architecture of the floor rails, you take your power back. Travel does not have to be an anxiety trap. You just have to know the rules they hide from you.